Welcome to Behind the Backline, the podcast where we chat with merchants, brands, and industry professionals in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space about their products, services, industry trends, stories, and more. Join us now as we dig into the stories behind our favorite backline gear.
Welcome to Behind the Backline. I'm Matt Jacoby, founder of Octave Media, an inbound marketing agency focused on helping music merchants develop an automated solution to increase website sales. Today, I am speaking with Mike and Joey of SignalFlow. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you guys on. It was nice to meet you at NAMM. So I just wanted to start us off with just kind of having you guys tell a little bit about who you are and what your company does.
Yeah, I'll start. My name is Joey Howell. I'm mostly an audio engineer from in and around Denver, Colorado. Mike is, it was kind of my idea, and then I'll let Mike introduce himself. He's the developer.
Yeah, so my name is Mike, and I am also from Colorado, and I've been a freelance developer for a few years now, and Joey and I are cousins.
Yep.
Yeah. So
very cool. Yeah. The family affiliation did not come up last time. So.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
full disclosure.
Yeah. I had another guest recently that was also from Denver. So it just seems to be a popular place for the music business products.
Yeah. It's booming all around for sure.
Cool. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what SignalFlow is.
Yeah, so SignalFlow is an iOS and Android or Google Play app for organizing and sharing and updating stage plots and input lists. So, with audio engineers, you have, your full team on a gig usually when you've got multiple bands there. And you want to be able to set up your stage, quickly and have good communication with everybody. And so that's what the app is targeted for and mainly designed for is audio engineers. And the idea is I make a change on my stage plot or my input list on my SignalFlow app, and my stage techs that are on stage setting everything up for me get that update notification immediately. And vice versa, and then front of house engineer, if I'm the monitor engineer, the front of house engineer gets all of that information as well. And it just keeps the workflow nice and quick. And it extends to other areas of production as well. Bands advancing shows to venues and, the church world and everything like that. So, it's a stage plot and input list app.
Very cool.
Plus the cloud.
Yes. So how long has it been on the market?
It's been since end of November.
We released it version 1 on Thanksgiving of last year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess about 4 months
ish
live. Yeah. 5.
Have you guys had many updates rolled out since then or since NAMM? Any based on feedback or anything?
Not a lot since NAMM, but we were on a pretty regular schedule after Thanksgiving of last year where we were releasing updates probably about once every 2 weeks. The slowdown has been mostly just from other projects that I've been working on, and we've been kind of letting the momentum build for this app to try and get as much sort of feedback on what we want to do next and how we want to improve it as we can.
Yeah, NAMM was pretty instrumental in us getting a bunch of feedback and really good feedback on it, and knowing what needs to be more updated and changed and whatnot. So yeah, we're working on that. I mean, we've done one update since NAMM, and then we're working towards. I mean, no set date, but we're hoping to be able to come out with one early summer with some big changes. Not changes, but I guess improvements.
Improvements, yeah.
Cool. So how, excuse me, how has it been picked up, or how many people are you able to see how many people are actually using it to date?
Yeah, we are. since NAM, I don't know, we've
probably grown by maybe 200 to 300%.
Yeah, since NAM,
if not more than that.
Yeah, NAM was really big for us, and we've tried to do some social media things here and there to just kind of keep the word rolling out and keep building the business. Just keep getting more users. So yeah, it's been growing. I'd say exponentially since NAM. It was a slow build until then, but it's so new as well. It takes a bit for the word to get out, but it's been awesome. Like the response we've gotten since we were there.
Cool. Yeah, that's great to hear. I saw a lot of your social media posts, some of the videos you guys had shot while at NAM that you had people from all different parts of the industry seem to enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah,
that's definitely a thing that we've noticed as doing the videos. I did a couple I did one long tutorial. We did an intro video with both of us. It seems to have really helped all of the traction for the app. So we're gonna keep doing that. When we do this big uptake coming up here, we'll do some more tutorials, and definitely it's been helpful. I have a video background as well, so it helps to be able to use that in that way.
And I guess I noticed that it makes sense now that you say that, because I liked your setup and was it setup and takedown, or just one or the other of the booth, the time lapse?
Oh yeah. Yep, it was setup of we were working with a nice pillar in front of our booth. We showed up and kind of had to frame that thing out, but it was
we had to pay extra for that big pillar that took up a good third of our booth. It was great.
And we're going to throw in this giant pillar that you can wrap in whatever you want. You can make it look like something, or turn it into R2D2, or who knows what you want to make.
Yeah, maybe if we would have known ahead of time, maybe we could have done something like that, actually thrown a banner on it. But
I actually got a couple of people to come over and check out our app because they were leaning on it. And I would go over there and be like, excuse me, no leaning on our pole. Thank you. You have to come see our app if you want to lean on it. And they laughed and come over and saw it. So
perfect. Well, that was almost a sales hook. It's like, hey, that's my pillar.
Just making lemonade out of lemons, I think.
So, tell me a little bit about how the app came to be. What's the story or the inspiration behind why you felt the need to create it?
Yeah. So just being an audio engineer, I've worked a lot of festivals. I've been doing it, professionally for about 11, 12 years. And doing all that, I kind of just would develop this system where I would use, a cloud-based thing, a la Dropbox or Google Drive, and then and make spreadsheets with input lists and share those from, my laptop at Monitor World, and give the stage techs I'm working with an iPad, and same deal, share that folder or whatever with the front of house engineer. And so I just started doing that just so that we could all be on the same page and communicate. Whoever's patching the snake for me, if I make changes or they make changes, everyone knows what's going on. And if I figured out that running festivals, obviously everyone wants to keep things on time and do it quickly. And, you learn the hard way, right? So doing the chicken scratch on paper usually results in mistakes happening and things like that. So that's where it came from. I just kind of developed this way. Everybody has their own way of doing it, but this way seemed to work really well. And then I told Mike about it, and he was a developer, and he helped just kind of take it into a fully self-contained app, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think we were just kind of hanging out.
Yeah,
and he brought up this idea for an app and kind of pitched it as a sort of combination of Dropbox and Excel and almost like a Google Docs, but for his sort of industry. And from there, I was just kind of able to develop a prototype, and I think we both kind of saw the potential in it. So we jumped in on it. went for it.
Very cool. Yeah, I can imagine something like, any spreadsheet, or if you're just like sharing a Google Drive, that probably can get a little tedious at times. And this seems to be a nice, intentional solution versus, I'm just going to try and share this with everybody and hope that everybody looks at it or is on the same page with it. And, but yeah, no, I'm a drummer. I don't necessarily deal with the audio side of things, but I can definitely appreciate, the fact that as soon as we're done setting up, their guys are hooking up my mics, they're running my Snake, they're testing my channels. And if you guys got people on both ends of that and being able to communicate much quicker and much more efficiently, that I'm sure anybody would be very happy to have something like this.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the goal. I mean, we definitely came up with the idea targeting audio engineers. I don't know if targeting is the right word, but trying to push it to audio engineers, and then quickly realized that musicians could get use out of it as well. Bands, just local, regional bands. I mean, touring bands that are just having to advance their shows with the venues, and being able to, with the app, you can send the stage plot and input list via PNG, via text or email, or you can print it and things like that. So we quickly realized that it is useful for, even people like you that are just bands and musicians in bands that are playing locally or touring around. And so that's possible too. And then another thing I was going to say, in addition to like just the list, input list is a big deal to audio engineers, but integrating the stage plot function, it was a whole nother level that like my system that I had developed with, the cloud and spreadsheets, they didn't even involve that. So being able to like integrate the way Mike built this app to where you make a change on the input list, it changes that on the stage plot and vice versa. I mean, that was a whole nother aspect of the creation of the app that was just really, it was really exciting for me to actually be able to do that, because there's nothing out there that does that right now. So yeah, we feel like it's definitely a very useful tool.
So this is the first thing you found in your line of work that does this?
Yeah. As far as talking with, first of all, the cloud function. So sharing with each other and getting real-time updates. I haven't found anything like that out there. And then also being able to, like I said, make a change on a stage plot and it reflects on the input list and vice versa. There are stage plot apps out there that are really good and functional, but we haven't found one that's doing it quite like ours in the specifics of the cloud and reflecting things on both sides of the stage plot and the input list. So yeah. Cool.
So as a digital guy myself, I'm not a full-blown developer, but I did website development, or I have done website development. My techie side is screaming. So how does the syncing work? Like, is there like a shared account someone has to log into, or do you share with each other and are there push notifications and that kind of thing?
So you each have an account, and right now we're not using push notifications, but kind of my own sort of
in-app
notification. Yeah, in-app notification. Yeah. So okay. We'd like to move to push notifications, but to kind of keep simplicity down. I'm just using sort of a custom baked solution for that, but each person has an account, and that all sort of filters through our server infrastructure and will filter down to the people that it matters to.
Yeah. And it's, you can, as like the owner of a stage, if I start a stage, I can share that with my stage tech, and I can make them a contributor to that stage, or I can make them like read only. So that's the basic function. I just create my stage, and then there's a share button. Looks like any share button you see on any app, and you put in their email address, and then they're able to collaborate, meaning they can make changes on it, or you can just make it read only to where they're seeing what you're doing.
Like if you don't trust someone.
That's my stage. Don't touch my stage.
Exactly. You can look, but don't touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's
The idea is, eventually, hopefully that, enough people are using it to where even, bands could share their signal flow with a venue, and everyone can communicate that way. And, everything's so digital and app based anyways. I feel like we're just kind of integrating that, trying to make, create a standard in the industry, honestly, to where everybody is able to use, able to use something standard and that works. It talks across Android and Apple. If I'm an Apple user, I can have the same stage. Mike can have the same stage open on his Android phone, and so on. So yeah, it's pretty exciting, and I think it's very usful.
As an industry standard, it's almost like, dude, are you Googling? No, dude, my venue is flowing, or signal flowing.
Signal flowing, exactly. No, that's the goal. I think it's very useful. I have a background in, I did some. I was a tech director at a church for a handful of years, and I think it'd be really useful in that market as well. There's you have your band leader, and they're able to share with their tech team or whatever, the changes. You have special events that go on and whatnot, and you can have a different stage for each one of those. There's just a lot of uses, and like I said, like you mentioned, hopefully the standardizing of things with this app.
And just in the last 2 minutes, I have thought of like two places that I'm familiar with here in Madison that could potentially benefit is theaters. We work with the major theater here in town to put on our Madison Music Awards every June, and so we know the sound guys and the stage techs and everything, I think, would enjoy that when it comes to like setting up the backline for the performers and stuff like that. And the second one is we have a couple major outdoor festivals in the summer here, and I can see that being very beneficial when you're running anywhere from 4 to 25 stages, and you have a heck of a lot of stage techs and sound techs. That could really simplify a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly where the inspiration came from. It was specifically after a festival I was working where I was a monitor engineer, and we had, I want to say 5 days, and we had 2 sessions per day, one in the morning, one in the evening. But each session had a house band on one stage, and then on the main stage, there were 2 like rather large acts in the same session, and we had to swap, between those 2 large acts and then the house band seamlessly. And so it just makes too much sense to use something like this to organize all that. And, after doing it with the cloud-based and like spreadsheets and whatnot, like those events went really well because of that, and being able to just communicate quickly, with the team and everything. So yeah, you're right. I think it just has a number of uses, from small theaters to large theaters to festivals. We talked with someone at NAMM. He was actually, I think, one of the main engineers, or the main engineer at House of Blues there in Anaheim, and he was really excited about it purely because he's working House of Blues where they're having multiple acts a night, and you're able to put each act in your app and just pull it up if you need on your iPad or your phone, and even if it's just for you. I found myself using it on shows that I've done just by myself, just to keep things organized. And I always have my phone with me, in my pocket. So sometimes it even helps because I'm up on stage by the snakehead, and I can't remember what channel I had on the console for the bass guitar, and so I can just whip out my app and patch it right there. So it's a handful of uses, all kinds of ways to use it.
Yeah, definitely. So prior to this, because I've never been an audio tech, in the sense of the word, I have done some of that, but like before this, is it just notebooks or memorization or?
Exactly.
It's probably flag signals.
Yeah. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, they like hold 2 flags, and you like do that's probably what it was.
Exactly.
Every audio tech memorized every single one of those signals, right?
Exactly. We had different colors and different symbols for, different guitars and channels. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. I mean, it eliminates the need for that, like I said, that you can scratch on paper and making changes, scratching numbers out and writing new numbers next to it. I've done that so many times in my career. And so this eliminates that. So yeah, it's got a number of reasons. Less paper use.
Yeah.
That's why we did it, is the economical, or the ecological benefit. We're just a green company. Sure. That's what it is.
This was a Greenpeace sponsored event or project, right? Well, so from what the feedback you've gotten from people using it so far, like any ideas that you've gotten from people that you may not have even thought of yet, or new applications for it, or?
Yeah, I mean, some of the people we talked with at NAMM were actually educators, and that kind of opened our eyes to a really potential, market for it. I mean, even just educators being able to. There was specifically a couple of people that came by that worked at a theater. It was I can't remember the exact. There was a theater that kind of taught kids production, but performance and everything. It sounded really cool, and they were so excited to find something like this because it can teach younger people who are trying to get into this industry and things like that. It can teach them honestly, like how to set things properly, how to communicate, how to set up an input list in a stage plot. Like I honestly wish that there was something like this when I first started, because it would have helped me a lot, like just know how to properly, organize a stage. So yeah, that was one of the feedback ideas. We've gotten a number of them as well that just specific, pieces of the app that, like I said, we're trying to work towards doing a big update here before early summer, to add all of these features that, there's right now it's only inputs. We're working towards adding outputs as well, because as an audio engineer, it's good to be able to know what output channels you're using for your aux mixes and your in-ear monitors and your wedges, things like that. There's no, where we got feedback for adding, a column, a lot of input lists, you have specific microphone requirements. So even just adding a place where you can put that in, we're, plan on that. And then also, like the biggest thing I think that's coming up, we've worked with a designer to improve the look of all of the stage plot elements, which is a pretty big task to update all that stuff. So right now, it's the initial number of instruments that we have on the stage plot and whatnot. It's kind of the initial design that Mike was able to put up and throw on there, but now we actually have someone who created some specific looking, everything looks the same and all the different instruments, and you got upright pianos and monitor wedges and mic stands and things like that. So that was a lot of feedback we received as well that we're currently implementing. We're just working on getting it all in there all at once.
As a little bit of having a graphic design background, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool to see little visual representations like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, right now it's, there's just lots of features. I want to keep talking about it. There's lots of features that we've talked about adding. It's just a matter of time, like with these things, it's, Mike's developing as quick as he can. And, he has other work. So, yeah, there's even with those images, I was going to say we want to be able to, hopefully we want to be able to scale them up and down and things like that, make it pretty, flexible, as flexible as we can make it is the hope.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And I know, those development wish lists on any type of product or service just never seem to get smaller. It's like, oh, we've added this fun
Absolutely
stuff.
not.
Now we want to do this. Now we want to do that.
I know. When we have conversations about it and planning, it's, I just keep, wanting to add things, but it's a matter of, just being able to take the time. So yeah, it's exciting though. Like the fact that we have all that feedback and are able to, work towards that and keep adding things for users.
Cool.
Just on a related note too, in the app, there's a feedback section, which has been where most of my to-do list has come from, is either users using the app that have put in things that they want to see, or Joey using the app saying, hey, this is the way that I think it should be. And so I've just been kind of using that as a to-do list, and yeah, it doesn't get smaller.
I bet. Yes. Maybe you need to take the feedback section out for a little while so you can catch up.
Yeah, just stop accepting new feedback.
There you go. Hey, we need to take a break. Mike's got a lot of work to do. As soon as we caught up, then we'll start it again. But you need to write it all down on paper again like you used to. So
yeah. Write it down for now. We'll be back.
Yeah. Exactly. So prior to November, how long did it take to go from idea to concept?
I started in sort of mid-September. So
not very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea had come about, honestly, I think a couple years prior to that, but it was just the right timing. Everything, stars aligned to where Mike had a good chunk of time to be able to start this thing and get the first big half chunk of it made. And then from there we're just continuing to update.
Cool. And then I do remember you guys talking a little bit at NAMM about the current pricing options. I believe it's free and paid.
Yeah, that's correct. So I think we have 3 different tiers of pricing. There's the free option that allows you to kind of demo the app. It gives you one stage with 16 inputs. And then the tiers above that are the musicians tier, the engineers tier, and the all access tier. And those are $2, $4, and $6 a month, respectively. And so each of those tiers gives you access to sort of more features. So for a musician, we tried to gear that tier more towards the building of a single stage plot and then being able to share that via text message or image, email, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then as it goes up for the engineer and the all access, it was more about more stages and being able to share with more people, because an engineer has a slightly different use case for this type of app than a musician would have.
Yep, that makes sense. From experience, I can see that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then musicians can still, with the musicians tier, the idea is you've got one stage, but you can share that, with your band members and, make updates. I think that's got one share available now on the that tier, but then you can, obviously print and share it, the image as well. But being able to have, 1 or 2 accounts for the band and people in your band can also update it, on their app too. It's nice and helpful.
I can see that being very beneficial since you're the band, what your stage plot is, and you're going to be traveling from venue to venue, and to be able to pass that along makes more sense than the complete opposite, where if you're the sound tech at a venue, and you have multiple people on a stage, then you have multiple stages, multiple inputs for each of those stages and all that, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. So where can people find your website to learn more about SignalFlow?
Yeah. So I'd push everyone just to our best source of communication and letting everyone know about updates and whatnot is social media. At SignalFlow app on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's the best way to kind of just follow along with what we're doing. If you're not, into, if you don't have social media or anything, you can, honestly, you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. Whenever we do big updates, we're going to, be doing videos, like I said, tutorials and things like that as well. And then I'd say just the App Store and Google Play Store. Those are where you can go and just, if you search SignalFlow on the App Store, ours is, I think it is the first one to pop up. So yeah, you can find us in all of those places.
Cool. And I personally do not have a use for it quite yet, but I feel like I just want to go download it and play with it. That just sounds like fun.
Yeah, exactly. There's, just to even have it for the free version, 16 channels, it's fun to, see what it can do. And yeah, we figured that was a good way for people to at least be able to test it out.
Yeah. And for me, I'd love to at least, have it and watch you guys roll these updates out and kind of see where it's going to go. I think that'd be fun to kind of see the progress and just kind of watch where you guys take it. So
definitely. Thanks. Yeah, we'd appreciate it. Yeah, we have high hopes for it, and ideally integrating with other products and whatnot. But yeah, we're trying to take it easy and make sure that it's done right, and not just rush everything out there. So yeah, just download it, and we'll keep everyone updated here, hopefully soon with some good updates.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you guys are definitely doing it right. The wish list is very motivational, but can be also a way to rush through things and want to get them out there for everyone because they're so awesome and everyone has to see these. But but yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time to join me today. Thanks for coming on, and thank you for listening to Behind the Backline today, brought to you by Octave Media. You can find Octave Media at octave.media. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast in iTunes to learn more about great products and to leave a review to let us know what you thought of today's episode. We encourage you to share us with your friends and colleagues via social media, and we'll see you next time. Take care.